welcome back, everyone. J-Bone here for Smash This Podcast. Except it's not a normal Smash This Podcast, folks. No, this is the debut of something I've been working on for a while. And I'm throwing this on YouTube, too, as part of the launch. But this is the first episode of J-Bone's Jacked Up Jukebox. And joining me for this is someone who's become a good buddy of mine in the podcast world. And because this is a music based podcast, and I'm going to kind of cover a little bit of all sorts of stuff in the rock and roll world. Sometimes maybe a little hip hop, sometimes maybe a little country. You never know what you're going to get here. That's why it's called J-Bone's Jacked Up Jukebox. But my guest for tonight's first landmark episode, got to make this big, is Trent from the Total Nonstop Impact Podcast, who I co-host with, who I have become a recent co-host with, I should say. Welcome to the show, man. What is up?
What's up, J-Bone? What's up, Smashers? We got a nickname for your channel, folks? Is it Smashers?
Yeah, the Smashers. I don't really call them that too often, but yeah, it might become a thing. So, man, we're gonna talk about. We talk about wrestling a lot. That's about 99% of the conversations we have. But I wanna change it this time, and yeah, it's still gonna be a little wrestling related. But I brought you in to talk primarily about you and your band, who are going to be part of something very special coming up. The news broke. Why don't you talk about that for a little bit?
Yeah, my band HEMI, HEMI, HEMImusic.com, we are going to be a part of Impact Wrestling's Bound for Glory weekend, performing live at the All Glory event the night before Bound for Glory. All Glory's a special partnership show and fan fest they're doing in Chicago at 115 Bourbon Street. We're going to be part of the festivities, and we're going to play a mini set live later in the evening as part of that. So this comes out of doing 2 songs for Impact Wrestling this year. We did the song for Rebellion, the pay-per-view, in April, and we provided the song for the Bound for Glory commercial in October here. So being a part of the Impact family this year, we got in the mix, and they invited us to come perform live at the Bound for Glory weekend festivities. So it's a big honor for me. I tried getting music into there for 15 years, and this is the year it happened. So I'm very grateful to be a part of that, man. It's pretty cool. Pretty cool.
Congratulations, man. And I don't know I've congratulated, but I wanted to do it here too.
Yeah, thank you.
That is just tremendous. You gotta, you've been a part of the Chicago music scene now for several years. Can you talk about the history of your band a little bit and how you guys kind of came together and the history over the last, you said 15 years or so?
This is year 16 actually. But man, we started here in Chicago. The band was formed out of initially 4 friends. We're all high school buddies. Just decided to form a band one day. It was me, my buddies Paul, Eric, and Mike, who's also known as Gup, or Guppy. That's a nickname we have for him. As it stands today, me and Gup are the only 2 original members still left in the band. But we started, in 03, decided to just get together, play music. We were all high school friends. We all graduated in the late 90s, but hung around, and we should do something. Let's just start a band. We didn't know what the hell we were doing. We didn't really have any musical anything. I mean, a couple of us knew what we were doing. Gup knew how to play drums. He was in some bands, but I didn't know anything. I had held guitars, screwed around a little bit with some buddies here and there, but not really knowing much. And we just jumped in, started jamming, brought another guy in, this other guy named Eric, a second Eric, to play rhythm guitar, and off we were. So about a year's worth of practicing writing in my parents' basement. We did our first show in October of 2004. So what's funny is, I'll tell you what, it's going to be exactly the day we're playing the Impact show on 10/19 it's like 15 years and like 1 day to the day of our first ever gig. So it's kind of interesting in that sense.
Wow.
Yeah, it's pretty cool.
That
Pretty
is,
interesting.
you talk about landmark. Wow. Now
Yeah.
that is special, man. That is special.
Yeah, it's coming of age, man. I'm a big Impact Wrestling fan, been, a fan of the company since day one. So for me, it was a big deal to be a part of it. And man, yeah, for it to come almost 15 years to the day of my first gig is kind of cool. Kind of cool. But yeah, formed in '03 and worked our way up, man. We released our first album in 2007, a live album in 2012, another album in 2014, an EP in 2016, and then our latest in 2018. So we did that, a bunch of singles in between, a DVD as well. Been on the radio in 22 countries, music videos played in
Wow.
9 countries. Yeah, we've been all over the world in terms of distribution, merchandise, all independent, all do it yourself. It's very little resources. Not all the guys are tech savvy. A lot of it was on me to do, but it's persistence. It's consistency. No record label support. We have distribution support, but no record label. So it's DIY, man. You got to do it yourself. We jumped in and we've been doing it ourselves since 2003.
Tremendous, man.
Yeah.
Absolutely tremendous.
Yeah.
Any fun stories you could share leading up to this big date in Chi-Town, Bound for Glory weekend?
Fun stories in terms of like something crazy about like related to this.
Yeah, just like how you were, how the news broke to you. If you can reveal a little behind the scenes.
Sure. Well, a little background on it. I remember trying a lot to get in with Impact Wrestling for a long time. I sent my music to almost every regime that they've had, music people. Nobody ever answered back. I tried the other companies too. Nobody ever answered back. It's kind of flaky. The way I worked for AAW Pro Wrestling in Chicago. The way I even got in there was they were looking for music, and I submitted music and went from there to becoming a producer years later, which I'm in now. I'm pretty much ingrained in that company. The funny thing is they never end up using my music in AAW, which is odd. The only company I worked for, they recently did it. The new film director there, Rob Malinowski, who makes a lot of the films, he started using our songs, and finally, but it's funny that the company I work for never even used the music, but tried like hell. Yeah, tried like hell. And I talked to Kevin Sullivan, K Sully TV. He's the production company that works for Impact Wrestling. They work with Impact Wrestling for their broadcast. They do all the video production, everything like that. I got in touch with him, and I just asked him. I said, "Hey, can I submit music for it to you? I've been trying like hell. Anything I can try." And it took a lot of persistence. I mean, it wasn't like he knew me or who I was, but stayed on it, would send stuff over. And one day I remember what happened was, and this is the power of the internet, was that I've been in contact with him, but nothing had popped yet. And I remember some fans of ours who were also Impact fans started buzzing on Twitter, and they're talking about certain songs that'd be good. They're like, "Oh, so-and-so should come out to this, so-and-so should come out to that. It'd be cool." And then they tagged him in them. And the next day, he's like, "Send me these tracks." So like the power of the internet, people started buzzing.
Wow.
And he's like, "Send me those." Fans do it, man. The fans are all who do it. But I sent him some tracks. He's like, "I got something in mind," and off we were. And first time I saw it air on TV with our song and our name in the they call it bottom third, it was pretty awesome, man. It was pretty surreal to see that, and our play counts and sales, everything popped up. So I thought it was an awesome moment, man. Really, really cool. But the way I found out this happened, so we, after Rebellion was a success, we stayed in touch about other stuff, and I said, I flat out asked, I said, "Hey, if Bound for Glory is going to be in Chicago, give us a shot to bid on that, get in on that." Had something in mind. I sent him a new track we did. He sent it over. It was a hit. And I got contacted by Josh Matthews of Impact Wrestling, who's the VP of the digital content and media for Impact Wrestling. And
Well, that's interesting. I didn't know that.
yeah, he contacted after all this was going on, and he said, would you guys like to play the All Glory Fan Fest? And I said, you don't have to ask me twice. So I said, absolutely. Let me tell the guys. And we were in. That was it. So he's like, we appreciate what you guys have done. And hell, he even sent me this t-shirt the other day. So nice to be a part of the Impact Wrestling family. I'm a fan since day one, show one, day one. So pretty cool.
That is tremendous, man.
Yeah, thank you.
Now, do you guys have a set list already? Like, you guys know what you're going to play? Is there anything you want to reveal, or do you want to save it as a surprise for the show?
We'll save it. We do know what we're going to play. We might tweak that a little bit. I think we're pretty set on. what we're going to do. I think we have an idea of what we feel is going to be good for that crowd and the energy of the room. And I know the room really well. I've run shows for AAW in that room, so I know the room. It's going to come down to energy of the crowd. So I got some things in mind. We'll see what happens.
Awesome, man.
Yeah.
Tell me about your love for music and what sparked what caught your ear and made you a fan of music.
Yeah, it's weird. I grew up grew up in the 80s, so my mom always had some music on. 80s music is amazing. Always was into I'd say more pop growing up, 80s pop, which I still love to this day. But I was a big Michael Jackson kid, and into that kind of stuff. But I grew up in a house with Billy Joel, and I grew up in a house with Bruce Springsteen, things like that, Fleetwood Mac. And so I was always there. But playing, I was never a huge music kid until I remember, you develop your taste with friends, the kids around you and stuff. And I remember getting into, I had this buddy who was really into hair bands, as a kid in the late 80s. They got really into hair bands. But then, rap got really huge in the early 90s, especially in Chicago. So I was really into gangster rap, I'm a 10, 11-year-old kid, but I love Eazy-E and Dr. Dre and NWA and all that stuff.
Wow.
Got really into all that stuff. And then I remember what really converted me back to rock and roll was two things. It was 1991, 1992, which two things really crucial for me. I remember watching Wayne's World and seeing Alice Cooper perform "Feed My Frankenstein," and I thought that was the coolest thing. And I was like, man, that's really cool.
Love that song. It's one of my favorite Alice Cooper tunes.
Yeah. And then the Bill and Ted Bogus Journey soundtrack was fantastic.
It's got a lot of stuff like Kiss and Slaughter, and I'm trying to think who's all on there. Yeah.
I think even Warrant's on there. Cinderella, I think, it's on there. Megadeth's on there. There's a lot of stuff on that soundtrack, and I was Winger's on there. I remember I love the movie. I bought the soundtrack, not knowing anything, but I just love that stuff, and I was like, man, this is awesome. And then I got exposed to more Nirvana and the grunge movement, and you go to high school, you start rolling with those crowds. Got into punk. I learned about Ozzy, and then from Ozzy you get into metal, and then you go backwards, you get into Sabbath, and from Sabbath you get into Dio, and then Dio you got into Rainbow, and then you just start branching from there. And I was all in. Grew my hair out. I mostly grew my hair out because of Sting, the wrestler. He grew his hair out at the same time in '97. I was growing my hair out too, but grew my hair out, changed my image, started getting more into metal and rock, and start forming the relationships and friendships in those realms,
Yeah.
Never thought about. I took guitar lessons as a kid, and but didn't really do anything. It was basic stuff. But I had a friend who transferred into my high school. He was in HEMI for a little bit. His name is Dave. We call him Mr. Mad. That was his nickname, Mr. Mad. Mr. Mad came in and he had a guitar, and I was like, oh man, I fiddle with the guitar, and we became friends. He showed me, he knew a couple of things. I remember he knew how to play "Come As You Are," right? And which is
Nirvansky.
yeah, was like 5 chords, but I'm like, it's the coolest thing ever because somebody's playing it in front of me, which you don't normally get. You're like, holy shit, man, this guy knows how to play, and it's like 5 notes, but it was the coolest thing in the world. And I remember him and I talking about like playing together and forming a band, and we didn't really do anything. We just kind of like messed around, 2 guitars, no amps, um, just screwing around. But then, man, that bug was in me, and then didn't do anything, drifted on the idea, and then came around again in the second wave with these buddies of mine who were the first lineup of HEMI. Decided to do something, and shit, we did it, and here we are, man. They've come and gone. I've been through 10 members in 16 years, Jay.
That's interesting.
They've come and gone, man. I've seen them all come and go, but I've been here. I've sacrificed it all, for it. So
you kept it going.
Me and Gup.
And that's got to be something that's tough as a musician when you deal with stuff like that, no matter what the circumstance is, whether it's a mutual parting of the ways or something ugly happens in a relation. I mean, you can call it a relationship. You're in a band together.
Yeah.
And
we've been through that. Yeah.
And to keep the music going, to have that passion, there's got to be something in there that's tremendous, though.
Like you said, it's a relationship. So we went through a lot of, you fight, you cry, you laugh, you break up, you come back. I mean, I've been through it all, man. I've been through it all. It's 16 years of seeing it, but I gotta say the lineup now is beautiful. Got a great deal going here, and good people, great musicians, talented, decent guys. And we'll get to that. I'll talk about the current lineup in a second, but it's the happiest I've been in it now, for sure.
Well, yeah, and with the success you're seeing now, I think that just sparks a whole new wave in the success for the band. It's got to create new, it's a whole new buzz for it.
Yeah.
But yeah. Talk about the band. Talk about the guys you're in the band with.
Well, now it's 4 of us. It's myself, Tim Wilkins, Mike Seeplick, who's Guppy, and then we recently just added Sean Turnbull. It's funny. So we have an interesting little dynamic here. So we had a lineup, our lineup that from the 2010 to 13 lineup. That 3 years was a very, very active lineup. It was a good lot of us. The gentleman I mentioned before, Mr. Matt, was in that lineup. We had a real busy. We're on the road constantly playing shows. We made a live album and some demos during that time, but no album. Going busy. We knew Tim through an associated band. We played with Tim and Sean used to be in a band called Abstraction. Met them through work. Met Tim through work. Then his band needed our studio to play in, and we shared our studio with them. So when time came, people started departing. Mr. Mad left the band. I asked him, I said, they were slowing down. His band was pretty much breaking up. I said, if you're bandless, why don't you come jam with us? He came in, and he kind of took that over. We did a whole set of stuff that way. The other guitar player, his name was Ryan Kramer. He ended up leaving to move back to Michigan, so it was just the 3 of us. And here's an interesting story I want to tell. Years of trying, ups and downs, setbacks. I remember when it was left to the 3 of us, me, Tim, and Gup, Ryan had left, and I'm thinking, man, how many times do I have to start over? Because I'd been through so many members. Like, I got to keep starting over all the goddamn time. And I was so bummed, so frustrated. And I remember watching Nigel McGuinness, a professional wrestler. He put out a documentary about his life, and it focuses on him getting his dream job at the WWE and having it taken away from him like almost immediately because of a health thing. And the documentary is just like, it's very powerful. And there's a scene in there when he's in his car and he just loses it. He starts crying and he's like, I can't believe this. I did everything. I worked so hard, and it's just gone. And it's like, man, I'm watching this and I'm feeling the same thing. I'm like, I did everything right. I gave up moving out of town. I gave up, relationships. I've given up so many things. I said, for what? I'm sitting here rebuilding again. And I remember just sitting there watching. I'm like, God damn, And then I remember I sent him a I was connected to Nigel briefly on social media. I sent him a message, just took a shot, and I said, "Do you have an email address I can email you on? I got some thoughts. I just watched your documentary." Basically, I told him, I'm like, "Hey, I feel you. I felt that scene. I feel exactly what you're feeling, and I just want to let you know it was, you know, it was interesting to watch that and connect with you in that sense, and it made me feel a little better." We kicked off a great friendship after that, and it motivated me because I saw where he ended up. He got back on TV, and he's at his dream job now. So if you see behind me, right about there, there's a framed photo right there.
Okay.
You see that? That's a poster that Nigel sent me of that documentary, and he said a very powerful thing to me on it. He wrote, "In tragedy lies art. Be proud of what you've achieved." Because him and I were, yeah, and him and I were going back and forth about stuff because he felt bad that he never made it, and I said, you did make it, though. That's the thing. I'm watching a documentary about you. People bought it. Your Kickstarter was financed overnight. You did make it, no matter what you think. And it got him thinking. He's like, "You're right." I'm like, doesn't mean just because you didn't get to your dream job, it doesn't mean you didn't make it. You still made an impact on people, and it got him thinking. So that's why he wrote that inscription to me, and I hang it up on my wall to remember every day, because it's true. Even in the worst thing, like, something great comes out of it. I thought that was really cool. So head off a good friendship with Nigel, and again, years later, he ended up at his dream job. But in parallel, I was reading Motorhead's biography, and I remember when Lemmy talked about when they had the same thing happen to them, when they lost another guitar player, and it was just down to the three of them. And he's like, screw it, let's just do it. And we add another guy later on, we'll add him, but we got to keep fucking going, So he's like, I'm not gonna wait, let's just do it. Doesn't matter if we're down a guitar. So I'm like, yeah, you know what? Let's just do it. Let's just go. So I told the boys, I'm like, let's book a show. And the cool thing was, we booked a show, and the guy who had just quit, Ryan, showed up at the show. We know there's no heat now. He was on his way out of town. He wanted to see us off. And I remember looking at him in the crowd, not angry, just looking at him like, I'm gonna take this set, I'm gonna shove it right up your ass. Not in a hateful way, but more so a motivating way to say, like, nobody's gonna define me here. No one's gonna define us. Yeah. Him leaving is not gonna define it. Like, if we're willing to do this, we're gonna do it. And we played the set of our goddamn lives. And I thought I was like, we're back on track. We're here. So we continued on as a three-man for a little bit. Then we asked Sean, who is now a full-time member. He was in another band, but we said, would you mind being our live guitarist? Would you join up as a live guy with us just to get us through some sets and some shows? Won't bug you too much. We don't do too many. He joined as a live, was committed to another band, which was made up of who became our producer, a record producer, and a couple other guys. So he did live with us for a bit. I heard some demos he did, and he's like, "Oh, listen to my new stuff I'm doing." I'm like, "Who recorded this?" And it was his guitar player, who was a producer. Long story short, I said, I want to work with him. We cut an album with the three guys. Sean wasn't on it. Cut an album, huge success. Sean continued to tour with us. He did it again. We cut another album with just the three of us. Sean continued to tour with us. And that his other band that was made up with our producer broke up. And I was like, look, if you're bandless, they're not doing anything. I said, if you want a home, you got one with us. You already know our stuff. And he's exactly like I want. And he made it official just a few months ago. He's like, all right, man, I'm officially in. Let's do it. So that was that, man. And so now we are. It's me, Tim, Sean, and Gup. And it's HEMI 2019. Go moving forward.
Yeah, and really moving on to the next phase of your, your musical career.
Yeah.
At a landmark event of Impact Wrestling returning to Chi-Town after, I don't know, when's the last time they played Chi-Town?
The last show I went to here for Impact, I gotta say, it was the Impact Live weekly show, the first one on the road, 2013.
Wow.
I think it was 13. Yeah, Aces and Eights. That was at 2013 or 14. You tell me. That was That was a great show though. That was a real fun show.
Was
Yeah.
that was that is that back in the Hogan Bischoff time?
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
Impact. I'll look it up right now. I'll tell you exactly what it was. I always forget if it's 13 or 14, but I know they did this. It was the Sears Center where they did it, and I'm trying to remember exactly when they what date that was, but it was fun, man. It was a lot of fun that whole time. But yeah, it's been a long time since they've been in Chicago. Quite a bit of years. Now they're gonna do a bunch of stuff in Chicago, so it's gonna be a really cool weekend.
That's wild.
Yeah,
So you've been
13,
so
2013.
so you've been exposed to a lot of music throughout your life between 80s pop, some hip hop and rap of the
Mhm.
80s and 90s, going back to more rock and roll, and now you're in a metal band. What do you listen to, would you say, like on a regular basis as far as music? Is it metal or is it something completely like off the grid? What do you like you open up Spotify or YouTube and you're like, hey, I'll listen to fill in the blank.
You know, I've been obsessed with usually 80s pop. I love 80s pop. That's my get through the day. I put that on anytime. I just put on 80s pop playlist. It's odd as it sounds. That's my number one thing. But what I've been obsessed with is I don't know what you classify this, but there's a band called Dirty Heads, and
Oh, I've heard of them.
30 Heads, they kind of fall into that 311, Slightly Stupid, Stick Figure, that category. It's like reggae, punk, hip hop, electronic fusion. It's like a weird mix of everything.
I call them like modern day hippies.
Yeah, yeah, in a way.
Kinda.
I'm obsessed with Dirty Heads. I've listened to them every day since I happened to catch them in concert on July 6th. So I've been listening to them constantly. I love that stuff, man. It's so chill and it's a different thing for me. Excuse me. It's awesome. I
Nice.
play so much metal. But like, sometimes you just don't want to always listen to metal. You want to branch out. But I do listen to metal. Like I love, Manowar is my favorite band, and I love
Really?
listening.
That's interesting.
Yeah, I love Manowar. Like my go-to band for that feeling and to get me through anything kind of feeling. So I love Manowar. I'll listen to Manowar anytime. So yeah, I still got my metal. I still need my influences,
Yeah.
uh, but yeah, my daily I'll throw up 80s pop for sure. It's feel good stuff.
I will not knock you for that. It's always been a guilty pleasure of mine, man. I'll pop on some old Wham, George Michael,
Yeah, that sounds
uh,
fun, man.
Duran. There, I said it twice. It's all that stuff. It's so much fun. I found something the other day. Like I said, I know this. We're calling this JAYBONE'S jacked up jukebox, and um, I listened to something on repeat the other day. It was oh man, now the name is completely slipping me, and it shouldn't, because I listened to it over and over again. Is a saxophonist,
Kenny G.
or not saxophone. He's like a jazz guy out of the 60s or the like 70s that
Okay.
went pop for a while in the 80s, and he did a song with the Jimmy Jam guys. Janet Jackson was on one of his songs. Diamonds Are a Girl's Best Friend, something like that. And I can't think of the guy's name. I know I saved it in my favorites list on YouTube. But it's but yeah, crazy stuff. You go back to it's so fun.
Yeah. No, I love it, man. I'm eclectic taste. You know what I mean? I could see Slayer one night and go see Culture Club the next. There's no why put boundaries on music. That's the whole point of art, is to have no boundaries. And you got people who have this ego about, like, well, if I listen to this, I can listen to that. It's like, for what? Says who? The whole idea of art is to not have boundaries, and you're putting boundaries on yourself.
That's a beautiful thing about music, man. You never know what's going to inspire you. You never know what's going to get you going in the morning.
It's true.
It's one of the first things I do in the morning is I'll scroll through YouTube and see, oh, what's getting released. Like Frontiers Music is releasing all my old favorite bands from when I was in high school between 20 to 30 years ago. It's crazy. Spread Eagle, Roxy Blue, all these bands. It's like, oh my God, 30 years later.
Think about that. That's crazy.
It is. It's absolutely insane. And speaking of that, I want to bounce a couple topics off of you that just came up recently and just get your thoughts on it.
Yeah. What do you got?
Big news that dropped within the last 24 to 48 hours. James Durbin. Are you familiar with the singer?
James Durbin. No. What do you got?
Former American Idol singer from years ago, joined Quiet Riot 3 years ago.
Oh, yeah. Isn't his name like Jizzy Pearl or something? Is that him?
No, Jizzy Pearl just rejoined the band because James Durbin quit 2 months before their new CD is supposed to come out.
Gotcha.
Crazy.
Okay.
And I was, one of the craziest things about my channel, my original YouTube channel, is the music videos that I did, some reporting on some bands here and there throughout the last few years. Those are the most watched videos.
Yeah, you were showing me that. You were showing that your music stuff.
It's crazy. Yeah.
Insane plays.
Between talking about Rat and James Durbin, this actually dates that because James Durbin joined Quiet Riot, and some of those are some of the most watched videos on my channel. And wouldn't you know, now 3 years later, James Durbin is going back to being a solo guy, focusing on that.
Crazy.
And Quiet Riot's getting another lead singer again. But they got Jizzy Pearl coming back into the fold, which he was with them a few years right before James Durbin, I believe.
He replaced Dubrow when he died, right? Was it Jizzy who came in first?
Yeah, they had I think they broke up for a while. There's a documentary that's out there.
Yeah. I know Frankie Banali did the documentary, and it was like more centered around him because he was like the one keeping it all together and stuff.
Right.
It's a great documentary.
And he got permission, or he wanted to get permission from the bro's mother saying, hey, I want to keep this going, but I need your blessing so that I know it's okay. And she gave him the blessing, and he kept it going. And man, that band has been going through so much over the last, how long they got, I think they got back in early 2000s, I want to say. I'm not sure exactly the year.
Can I show you some? I'm going to show you. Keep talking. I'm going to pull something up right. That's right to the right of me here. I think you'll find it. But keep talking. I'm right here. I'm paying attention. I think you'll find this interesting.
But that documentary, I tell you what, man, it's really crazy to see what that band went through in trying to get started again, find a lead singer and whatnot. And I think it was like right at the end of the documentary, they said that Jizzy Pearl joined them, I think, after those few singers, Mark Huff, and I think there was someone else or something. I forget the names of the guys. But it didn't work out with them. Jizzy Pearl joined in, and I've seen Jizzy Pearl in a lot of different bands. Live, I can say live, I only met him once, and that was when he was fronting one of the two versions of L.A. Guns. Nice guy.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, so that was crazy. It was Tracy Gunn's version of L.A. Guns, fronted by Jizzy Pearl and a handful of other guys. They came here to the Milwaukee area, and I was one of the 5 people that showed up at the Best Buy because they were doing a little impromptu acoustic jam, talking to the fans. They didn't really do a signing. They had the table ready, but not a lot of people showed up, so they just they didn't blow it off, but they they didn't put that much into it. But I was talking to Tracy and some of the guys around the band there, and I was like, hey, thank you so much for coming out and doing this intimate thing and just connecting with them. And he said, hey, are you going to the show tonight? I forget what the name of the place was in West Dallas that they were playing.
Uh-huh.
And I was like, no, unfortunately, it's sold out, and I didn't get a ticket. He's like, you know what, man? You're on the list. You give me your name, we'll get your information. And I showed up, and I walked in, and I was like, holy crap.
That's crazy.
Yeah, that was great. Yeah, and then I hung out with all the guys from the band except for Tracy Guns. He was downstairs hanging out with some chicks or something. I don't know.
Of course.
But, yeah. But
So
yeah, and then just man, music's just a crazy thing. You never know what's gonna happen.
It sure is. I think it's over there further in the room, and I can't get to it right now. But I actually have a signed vinyl copy of Metal Health, Quiet Riot, signed by all of them, with Dubrow. I went and saw him on their last tour with Kevin, and I met him at this place at the 30th anniversary of Metal Health that it came out.
Man.
And I got them to sign the vinyl. And I remember Carlos Cavaza was like, he's like, holy shit, you got a copy of this on vinyl? He's like, you're not even old enough to have this. I go, I found it. I found it, and I'm bringing it to you. And they all signed it. It was really cool. They were fantastic live, though. I got to see them in a very small, intimate venue, but man, it was cool. And I remember just like, I was just rocking out. It was 2003. I was 22. And I remember Frankie Benali's looking at, I was right up at the stage. He's looking over at me the whole time. I'm singing every song. He's looking at me like, how the hell does this kid know every song that we're playing up here, you know? I love Quiet Riot. Even the Randy Rhoads years, man. I got all that stuff. Yeah. Big fan.
It's amazing how you never know who you're going to reach with music, what age group, whatever. It's amazing to find out who it all hits. I saw Quiet Riot in what I felt was the most awesome way possible at that time. They were part of a package deal. They opened up for, I believe it was, I want to say Poison.
Oh, yeah.
Part of Summerfest down at the lakefront.
Yeah, I remember when that tour happened. I don't remember
when where they were on the bill. I think like second or third. But man, it was the bro was still alive, and it was an amphitheater setting, and it was loud as hell. And I'm like, man, there is not a better way. I mean, intimate settings are nice for whatever band you love, who you want to go see, but man, sitting there with 10 to 20,000 fans, however many were down there that night, and listening to the classics. Oh, it was just tremendous, man. What a night. I think Enough's Enough opened the concert. Warrant was on that bill.
Oh, wow.
That was the last tour that Janie was on before he got kicked out again, unfortunately.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
Chip's Enough, I know, he's a Chicago guy, so I've played with him a bunch, and he's a nice dude. He's a character. He's a real character.
Now, he's not with Enough's Enough right now, right?
He's going back to it, from what I understand.
Really?
He was playing with some other band. I forgot what they were called, but they were kicking him out. And then he was going back to Enough, so I don't know what was going on after that. I just heard. This is all, stuff that I've heard in passing with him and everything.
Dude, there's so much crazy stuff happening in music right now. It must be a bug going around, because I've been a fan of Bullet Boys since it started back when I was in high school.
Oh, yeah, I saw them last year. Earlier this year.
Dude, Mark puts on a good show.
I couldn't believe that guy is, what, 50-something? 53?
Yeah, 50s, yeah.
Holy shit, he looked phenomenal.
Yeah.
And he put on a great damn show, man.
Dude, he's got so much energy. It's crazy.
Unbelievable.
The band he has now, minus the drummer, because I've gone through a handful of drummers. One passed away even somewhere within the last, I want to say 10 years ago now, something. I saw them with this incarnation of his band now. I want to say it was 10 years ago. It was the first time they all played live together in a club up in Appleton, Wisconsin. I drove 2 hours to get up there. And it was phenomenal. Met them all except for the drummer, who later on passed away.
Oh, jeez.
Crazy. Now, there's another band called, let me scroll down here and get the name of this so I got it right. Lies, Deceit, and Treachery. It's all the original members of the Bullet Boys and Andrew Freeman singing.
Oh, interesting. Okay.
Well, apparently, this band never quite got off the ground. They did released some songs, but never went full-blown, released an album or whatever. And Mick Sweeto, original guitarist of Bullet Boys, was hanging out with Mark Torrent of the Bullet Boys, and they jammed in L.A. doing something. I didn't hear all the details. Well, apparently, Andrew Freeman heard about this and was like, "Nope, that's it. I'm out of here." And I'm sure there's a lot more details to it, but that's the gist of it.
Oh, wow. Okay.
So apparently, there's also a Bullet Boys reunion of all the original members going on, or in the works, I should say.
Okay, cool.
And they got a date coming up somewhere around here in the next couple months. I saw it on Facebook, and I was like, ooh. And then I heard about this news, and I was like, ooh, original Bullet Boys getting back together? Ooh, yeah. Ooh, yeah, that's right.
No, they're good, man. I really first time I saw them live was earlier this year, I think. And man, they're phenomenal. I was blown away. I'm trying to think who else played. I think it was Enough's, Bullet Boys, and I can't think of the third. Oh, Great White. Great White. That was who was with them.
Okay, now which version of Great White was it?
It was the other one. It's well, no, it was Jack's. It was Jack's.
It was Jack Russell's.
Jack Russell's. It was Jack Russell's.
Okay.
Great White. Yeah.
Jack Russell's got a great band.
They were good.
They were super good. The guy can still, he may have slipped a little bit. He had some health issues and stuff like that. But man, the guy can still sing. The guy can still perform. And I will take that any day.
You could tell he got a little tired towards the end, but I'm like, he's up there. But
he's gone through a lot.
No, they were great. I highly enjoyed the show. I thought it was a great show.
I would love to see him. I saw them. They got rained out at Summerfest, and Jack Russell and the guitarist, the name is slipping me.
He was good, though. I remember the guitar player being extremely good.
Oh, he's still good, yeah. I just don't like their new lead singer.
Oh, you're talking the other lineup, the other half.
Mitch Malloy, I want to say it is.
Mitch Malloy, okay.
Great singer, but now you got him singing the Great White stuff, and I just can't do it.
Yeah, it gets a little tricky. It's always a big thing when it comes to replacing members, especially in a situation like theirs where it was like a split. Like they're still touring as two different entities. It's like, what are we doing here? It's a little strange.
Yeah, and there's so much of it out there. It's crazy, But Jeff Tate tours and does Queensryche stuff, and Queensryche's got actually not new now, but the different lead singer.
Yeah, I saw him with Tate reunited with him for a bit. I saw that lineup, and I thought that was really cool. They did all of Mind Crime, the whole album.
Oh wow.
Trip to see that,
Yeah. So now I got to ask you.
God.
You favor Sebastian Bach and his band or Skid Row and ZT?
Oh, I'm just an original Skid Row fan. I can't even follow the split up versions. I just, for me,
you just turn on the classics.
That's it. Yeah. Skid Row wise, I think I saw Sebastian solo once. It's fine. Sebastian's great. Yeah. I just, what the hell is that album called?
Slave to the Grind.
Slave to the Grind. I was done after that in terms of following Skid Row. I'm sure there's good stuff. I just, there was so much other stuff that I was like, if they're not even together, I'll just focus on what I like right now. I'm sure that I could listen to the other stuff. I'm sure. I think I listened to the last album and it was actually pretty good, but there's a lot out there. So little time.
Sebastian Bach has put out some decent solo stuff. His
Oh,
one
yeah.
from
He's had a
about,
pretty good
I
solo
want to
career.
say 6 or 7 years ago was really good.
He's had a
He
good
had
solo career.
he had a guitarist that was like a teenager, barely 21. That kid, oh my God.
Really?
And then he left because he had a drinking problem or something. And Sebastian Bach was trying to stay sober, and he was like, "Nope, you're out."
Too much too soon.
Something. And now he's got one of my favorite guitarists of all time, Brent Woods, from the infamous Wild Side. Oh my goodness. I
Really?
could go
Okay.
on and on. But yeah, Trent, I just want to thank you so much for coming on with me for this first episode of
Yeah,
JAYBONE'S
man.
Jacked Up Jukebox. I really appreciate it.
Anything for you, J-Bone. Anything. We have a lot of fun doing our show. I appreciate you letting me come on here and talk about myself. That was cool. I'm you know me. I love talking, so especially
Yeah,
about
man.
myself.
And that's something I've been wanting to pick your brain at for a while, because I know you're a musician, you got your band, and this is my other passion that I just don't talk about enough on my own channel. And well, now I'm doing it. And man, you never know what you're gonna get every week. I want to do some CD reviews. I just got some Roxy Blue and some Spread Eagle, so I'll be talking about that, and then I'll be
Cool.
also talking about whatever bits of news I can find on the internets and what's coming out. Oh, one last thing. Because I'm such an old fart, we're going to talk some 30-year anniversary stuff, something that's going to get a release pretty soon. Motley Crue's Dr. Feelgood.
I heard the remaster. Now I have a remastered version of it that's got a bunch of extra shit on there. I mean, what else are you gonna do to it? What
Yeah.
else do they have planned? They remastered it a few years ago. They added all the deleted and bonus stuff you could. I mean, is this just a cash grab? You know, you're gonna repackage it a little bit, put it into another box, and throw in maybe a few more cut demos, or I don't know.
For the ultimate fan, if you go to the website and go on their merch stuff for the pre-orders, man, you can get like the vinyl, you can get the CD, or
Take a look.
you can get like the Grand Slam package, and it comes with like 200 items or something. It's crazy.
What? Are you serious?
Oh, they've got all sorts of crazy stuff, pictures, pics, bags, posters. Oh, you name it, they got it in there, man.
I mean, they're
It's
retired.
nuts.
They got to make their money somehow. I want to get. Speaking of those big collectors boxes, there's one they put out for Dio that looks incredible, like the vinyl
wow.
set, and it's got a bunch of stuff. I want to get that one. These things are priced up. Vinyl is very, very pricey, so it can
It
be up.
is, man. It is.
It's
It's
up there.
crazy. Yeah, it's a thing again. You know, you go to some stores, you can get the record player, and boom, they got a ton of vinyl. You go like Barnes and Noble, they have a crap ton of vinyl. It's crazy.
Yeah, vinyl's not cheap either. I got my record players. I got a nice one back there, and I got like a portable one sitting over here somewhere. And
Yeah, got one next to me here. I don't use it enough, but
yeah, same. Like you can even get a Dr. Feelgood stethoscope if you want for $60. But I see the package you're talking about, the ultimate bundle. Holy shit, it's $300.
yeah,
It comes with a lot of stuff.
yeah. All the
Good.
memorabilia you could shake a stick.
Hoodies. I mean, it's kind of. I mean, for what you're getting, it's kind of cool. $300
yeah.
bucks. It's steep, but it's not bad.
If you're the ultimate fan, and I'm a pretty big fan, man. Right on the other side of my desk here, I'm staring at a tapestry that I got at the last show I ever saw them on their last tour back in 2015. Man, hands down, one of the best shows I've ever seen live, and I don't think anyone's ever gonna top it in my lifetime. But I'm biased, you know. I love the crew.
Me
Crazy.
too. Seen them 6 times. I love them. They're one of my favorite bands of all time. I'll tell you, I saw them at the Aragon Ballroom in Chicago. Small, intimate venue, very club venue. It was back to their club. You're talking 99, which was dubbed the Get Vince Neil Out of Debt tour, pretty much, you know, when he was hurting. And they played a bunch of small clubs, and it was awesome. I got stood up by this girl who never got her tickets. I would have gone alone. Great show. I got this awesome bootleg tee after the show off a street vendor who
Probably the same
awesome.
one I bought a T-shirt from Riverside Theater, downtown Milwaukee. Same
Maybe.
tour. Yep.
Same son of a bitch I sold to us, but I got this awesome tee, which my ex-wife ended up with. Now go figure. But well, it fit her afterwards. I mean, I was pretty skinny back in those days, you know, and I was fitting into a damn medium or small, I think it might have been, you know, and yeah, she ended up with it. That was a cool shirt though, man. It was an awesome shirt.
Man,
But
you want cheap crew stuff now, go to wish.com. You find it all, man. It's crazy.
are you serious? Why
Oh,
is that?
it's all that. It's crazy. It's a bootleg heaven over on wish.com. It's every band
Really?
you could possibly think of. Yeah, it's some of the stuff's kind of outrageously priced, but you can find pretty much anything for $20 or less. It's ridiculous.
Interesting.
I don't know, but I don't know how the quality is. They say, oh, 5-star quality. Yeah.
Yeah, says who?
Yeah. Yeah.
Cool, man.
You
Well,
brought up Dio, and I'm gonna wrap it up with this.
Sure.
And this piqued my interest. I love Dio too.
Oh,
They got the touring hologram.
yeah.
Now, are you a fan of what they're doing with this, or no? I gotta get your opinion on this.
It's weird. It's like seeing a ghost. I mean, it's
Mhm.
trippy, right? It's like I'm watching a ghost perform. I'm not opposed to it now that I think about it. It's the most of Dio I can get. The gentleman's dead, and it's like I saw him live 3 times. It's 2 solo, one with Sabbath, you know, Heaven and Hell tour.
Oh,
Uh,
awesome.
He saw the House of Blues, and he actually high-fived me, and, you know, and it was like, you know, Dio touching my hand. I was like, it felt like that Sistine Chapel where God's touching Adam, you know, and it's like,
Yeah.
oh.
It's a
But
moment.
it was cool. It was a very cool. I love Ronnie James. I think he's the rock god, the vocal god. I wouldn't mind going to see the hologram. At first, I was like, "Fuck no, this is ridiculous." But now I'm like, man, it's the only way I can get to see the guy in some capacity. I love music. I want to see it, but you know,
And they got a tight band playing the stuff.
the band's actually playing. I
Yeah.
don't know how they feel about the hologram, but the stuff's cool, man. I mean, they pull it off. I gotta say, they pull the damn thing off, which trips me out. But you know what? If you told me, Trent, they're playing up in Milwaukee, it's a $50 ticket. You want to come? I'm like, you know, let's go. I wouldn't
Yeah.
say no. So
I gotta say, I might change my mind in the future, but when I first heard about this, I was like, I can't do it. I just can't. And, you know,
I know, I'm the same way.
after seeing them live, I've seen them live a couple times. In fact, one unique thing I will leave you with is I saw him live in Milwaukee the day that Stevie Ray Vaughan died. That night, Dio was playing the Riverside Theater, and
Really?
yeah, there was
And Stevie
it was
Ray died in Wisconsin. He died
at Alpine Valley. Yeah, and I found out
Wow.
that day in school we were all talking about it, and
Did
that
Ronnie
night,
say anything?
yeah, they had a moment of silence yeah. So there was a lot of talk about Stevie there. I met Yngwie Malmsteen at the metal shop, and I want to say 93 QFM was going through the line. Oof, that's a classic thought.
93 QFM.
That radio is not around anymore.
No.
They are now pop. Yeah, was smooth jazz for a few decades. But yeah, they were going through the line and saying, give your thoughts about Stevie Ray Vaughan, and he wasn't my favorite or nothing. I really didn't know what to say. The guy next to me got on the mic on the radio and said, he may be gone, but his music's going to last forever. I'm like, oh, shit, I could have came up with that. I was like, really, man?
That's
Crazy.
good.
But yeah, shook the hand of Yngwie Malmsteen. He looked a little reluctant to do it, but still got his autographs. That was the Eclipse tour. Saw Dio that night. He had the Prodigy on guitarist. I'm trying to think of his name.
The kid, right? The 19-year-old.
Oh, he was like 18. Robert something.
Robert. Oh my God, that kid was. He only lasted one album, didn't he?
I think so.
Lock Up the Wolves album, I believe.
Lock Up the Wolves, yeah. But
that was the album I believe it was on.
That's everyone does Holy Diver and all that stuff, but I hear it a billion times on the radio. My go-to Dio is Lock Up the Wolves.
Dude, Lock Up the Wolves is a phenomenally underrated album. For people who know, they know it's awesome. Like it's easy to go to the classics. Obviously, I mean, Holy Diver's such a perfect album, but
everyone covers it. It's like I've heard it a million times, His
name was Rowan Robertson.
Thank you. See, I knew it was Robert something in there. Okay.
He was like this crazy, amazing project, but then what happened to him? Like, did he just burn out? I heard like he just burned out. Like he couldn't hang or something.
Early 2000s, he was playing with a band called Vast that I really fell in love with for a while. I don't know what he's doing.
Oh, he was in Vast? I remember Vast. They had a hit record.
Yeah, they opened for Orgy.
Yeah,
that was a crazy-ass concert. Oh, those early 2000s were a wild time. Very different change in music. A lot of new metal, a lot of different techno stuff, Orgy stuff coming out. Yeah.
Music was going through a very interesting shift in like 2000, 2001, 02. It was a lot of electronic metal, rock. It was a new world.
They also did it all for the Nookie.
Leave it on that note, huh?
On that, we're going to get out of here. Thank you so much, Trent, for joining me on this first episode of JAYBONE'S Jacked Up Jukebox. I could talk music forever, and we almost did. So we'll catch you guys next week. I don't know what we're going to cover, but stop back. I'll try to make it as interesting as possible in the world of music.
How about some plugs? I'll be telling people where they can find me in the music.
There we go, man. Plug your band, plug your stuff. Absolutely, man.
Guys, check us out at HEMImusic.com. All the links are in there. HEMIMUSIC. HEMImusic.com. Links to Bandcamp, Spotify, everything's in there. Give us a follow, all the social media, new album streaming on Spotify and everything. Look for us, like I said, HEMImusic.com, the links to all of it. Find it, get it, enjoy it. Let me know what you think.
There we go. I've got it saved on my Spotify.
Thank you, sir. Thank you. I get a half a penny per play. I appreciate it.
There we go.
Welcome to digital streaming in 2019.
I will blow that sucker up, man. Get you somebody.
And leave it on repeat, guys, and hit mute and go to bed. I'll wake up with $1.49.
You can buy some Little Debbie's with that.
Yeah, if that.
Or something. I don't know what you buy for $1.50 these days.
I'd buy that for $1.
There you go. Go to the dollar store. But thanks for tuning in. We'll see you guys next week right here on JAYBONE'S Jacked Up Jukebox, the music portion of Smash This Podcast. We're out of here.
See you guys.